It has killed more humans than any war, any empire, any ideology in history. More than the Black Death, more than smallpox, more than every modern conflict combined. Half of all humans who have ever lived did not die by sword or bullet. They died shaking, burning, hallucinating, as a microscopic parasite ate them alive from the inside. And in 1967, while the world watched the Vietnam War on television, this parasite was killing more soldiers than bullets. Entire battalions collapsed without firing a shot. The most advanced weapons on Earth were useless. Radar could not see it. Bombs could not stop it. Antibiotics failed. Resistance was spreading, and the world was running out of time. Modern science had reached a dead end, so China did something unthinkable. They stopped looking forward. They turned around. They went backward, past laboratories, past microscopes, past chemistry, past the industrial age itself. They opened a forbidden archive sealed for over 16 centuries. An archive written before modern medicine existed. And inside it, they found a weapon modern science did not even know how to look for. A chemical landmine hidden inside a common weed. A plant that kills parasites in hours, hunts cancer cells by exploiting their own hunger, and terrifies an industry built on pills, patents, and dependence. They tell you it is dangerous to use the whole plant. They tell you it must be extracted, standardized, regulated, and sold back to you. But for 1600 years, nobody told the emperors of China that. This is the story of the weed that won a Nobel Prize, and why powerful institutions do not want it growing in your backyard. Welcome to Nature's Lost Vault. The vault opens in the year 340 AD during China's Eastern Jin dynasty. The empire is fragile. Wars are constant. Disease is everywhere. A scholar and alchemist named Jie Hong is compiling what he calls an emergency medical handbook. Something portable, practical, designed for chaos. He names it Zhouhu Beiji Fan, roughly translated as emergency prescriptions kept up one's sleeve. Not theory. Not philosophy. Survival knowledge. Inside are hundreds of remedies. But one entry is different. It is short, precise, almost clinical. For intermittent fevers, what we now call malaria, Jie Hong prescribes a plant called Xinghao, Artemisia annua, sweet wormwood. His instructions are oddly specific. Take a handful of the plant, soak it in water, wring out the juice, drink it, and then he stops. No boiling, no heating, no cooking, just cold extraction. That detail would be ignored for 1600 years. By the Ming Dynasty, nearly 13 centuries later, the legendary physician Li Shijin includes Qinghao in his compendium of Materia Medica. He confirms its use for fever and parasites. Wormwood becomes foundational in traditional Chinese medicine. Its name tells you its purpose. Wormwood kills worms, parasites, invaders, quietly, reliably. For centuries it works. Then modern medicine arrives. And wormwood is dismissed as primitive folklore. Fast forward to 1967, the Vietnam War is escalating. But bullets are not the real enemy. Malaria is. Entire armies are collapsing. China alone records over 30 million malaria cases every year. 300,000 deaths annually. The frontline drugs fail one by one. Chloroquine fails. Quinine fails. The parasite adapts. Resistance spreads, panic sets in. On May 23, 1967, the Chinese government launches a secret military operation. Project 523, named for the date, classified, urgent, desperate. Its mission is simple. Find a cure before malaria destroys the army. Scientists screen over 240,000 compounds, synthetic chemicals, new molecules, experimental drugs. Nothing works. In January 1969, they bring in a woman most people had never heard of, Youyou. Not a physician. Not a Nobel laureate. No doctorate. No Western training. She works at the China Academy of Traditional Chinese Medicine. Her task is almost insulting to modern science. Read ancient texts. Find something we missed. She and her team analyze more than 2,000 traditional remedies. They test 380 herbal extracts from 200 plants. Failure after failure. Then one plant keeps resurfacing. Artemisia annua. Sweet wormwood. They test it. It works. Then it fails. Then it works again. Inconsistent. Unreliable. Modern extraction methods produce chaos. The data makes no sense. Youyou does something no one else does. She stops trusting modern protocols. She rereads the ancient texts. And then she sees it. Zhejiang never boiled the plant. Heat destroys the active compound. Modern science had been burning the weapon it was trying to extract. On October 4, 1971, Youyou uses a low-temperature extraction with ether. The result is explosive. 100% effectiveness against malaria in mice. Then monkeys. Total parasite clearance. No partial responses. No resistance. A biological annihilation. But nobody knows if it is safe for humans. So Youyou volunteers herself, along with 2 colleagues. No press. No ethics board. No safety net. They ingest the compound. They survive. Clinical trials follow. 21 malaria patients. Every single one recovers completely. The compound is named Qinghaosu. The world knows it as artemisinin. Fast forward to October 5, 2015, Stockholm, Sweden. Youyou, now 84 years old, receives the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. She is the first mainland Chinese scientist to win a Nobel in science. She did it without prestige, without industry backing, without patents. Her acceptance lecture is titled Discovery of Artemisia, a gift from traditional Chinese medicine to the world. A gift, not a product. So why does this plant work so fast? The answer is terrifyingly elegant. Artemisinin contains a rare chemical structure called an endoperoxide bridge. It is unstable, reactive, and it detonates in the presence of iron. Malaria parasites survive by consuming hemoglobin inside red blood cells. Hemoglobin is iron-rich. The parasite is literally packed with iron. When artemisinin enters the parasite, the iron snaps the endoperoxide bridge. Free radicals explode inside the cell. A microscopic bomb, the parasite dies in hours. Faster than any antimalarial drug in history. According to the World Health Organization itself, artemisinin-based therapies have reduced global malaria mortality by over 20%. In Africa alone, more than 100,000 lives are saved every year. The Gates Foundation calls it one of the most important medical discoveries of the modern era. So here's the question. If this plant is so effective, so safe, so historically validated, why are you warned not to grow it? Why does the WHO explicitly discourage the use of whole plant Artemisia tea? Their official answer sounds reasonable. Standardization, dosage control, quality assurance, resistance prevention. But follow the money. The global artemisinin pharmaceutical market was worth up to $96 million in 2024. Projections place it between 225 and 677 million by 2030. Artemisinin-based combination therapies exceed $500 million. Pharmaceutical giants like Sanofi invested heavily in semi-synthetic artemisinin produced through genetically engineered yeast. Why yeast? Because yeast can be patented. Plants cannot. This shifts production from farmers to factories, from communities to corporations, from soil to shareholders. A packet of Artemisia annua seeds costs about $5. The plant grows in poor soil, requires minimal water, produces multiple harvests per year. One garden could supply antimalarial tea for months. If people in malaria endemic regions grew it themselves, the supply chain collapses. No factories, no patents, no dependency, and that is the real threat. Malaria is only the beginning, because the same mechanism that kills parasites also targets cancer. Cancer cells are iron addicts. They require up to 15 times more iron than healthy cells to sustain their growth. They are metabolically ravenous. Artemisinin exploits this weakness. Studies show it selectively destroys iron-loaded cancer cells while sparing healthy tissue. Leukemia, breast cancer, colon cancer. The research exists, but funding disappears. Trials stall. The narrative shifts. Then there are parasites beyond malaria. Bitter wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, has been used for centuries to expel tapeworms, roundworms, pinworms. Modern studies confirm it causes paralysis and structural destruction in parasites like Hymenolopus nana. In livestock, wormwood supplementation drastically reduces worm burden. Active compounds like thujone and sesquiterpene lactones disrupt parasite nervous systems. In regions where drugs like albendazole are expensive or unavailable, wormwood is a solution that grows from the ground. Yet global health authorities remain silent. Then comes the smear. Wormwood's reputation is destroyed through its cousin, absinthe, the green fairy. In the late 1800s, absinthe is blamed for madness, violence, hallucinations. A single murder in Switzerland becomes the excuse. The press ignores the man's extreme alcoholism. Wine producers lobby hard. Prohibition follows. A plant becomes a villain. A century later, scientists test pre-ban absinthe. Though Joan levels are negligible. The madness was alcohol poisoning and adulteration. The bans are lifted quietly. No apologies, the pattern is clear. Demonize the plant. Control the extract. Patent the molecule. Sell it back. Artemisia is a miracle. But miracles are dangerous when they grow freely. The question is not whether wormwood works. The Nobel Prize settled that. The question is who benefits from you not knowing. Who benefits from discouraging a tea while selling a pill? They can regulate a drug. They can patent yeast, but they cannot own a weed. Subscribe to Lost Nature's Vault. The next archive opens soon.